welcome to the Veterans Ascend Weekly Podcast. Today, we are honored to speak with Army veteran Vernon Green Jr. Vernon is a former warrant officer with 20 plus years of experience in a vast range of IT specialty areas. He has a master's degree in cybersecurity and is the founder and CEO of GCubed, Inc. He is also the founder and chairman of G3 Community Services, both of which we'll hear about today. We are privileged to hear about Vernon's service, his transition, his journey to create GCubed, which was just named on the Vet 100 list as the 29th fastest growing veteran-owned company in the U.S. We'll also get to hear about the great things the G3 Community Services is doing. So, Vernon, thank you so much for your time today. Let's start out by tell us about your 20 plus years in the Army, your transition and your motivation to start your own company, and why GCubed.
Absolutely. I'm honored to be here, and thank you very much for considering me for your podcast. I love to do anything that helps veterans, but I spent 20 years, 5 months, and 18 days on active duty. And
nobody's counting though, right?
Exactly. You know who's counting. But through those years, I spent 2 years in Korea, 4 years in Iraq, some time in Kuwait. I've had a lot of experience, whether IT, military, but leading people, taking care of people, caring about people. And so when it was time for me to transition out of the military, it was actually one of the most challenging things that I had ever done. You know, in the military, we have this mission first focus, and we have all these, I guess, values and things like that that tie us to getting things done and accomplishing the mission. So when it was time for me to hang up the military mission, I didn't really know how. Like, people had to tell me to go home or stop coming in. You don't work here anymore, that kind of thing. So, but what I will say is, getting out was scary from a perspective that after so much time in the military, I didn't know what to expect out there in the civilian world. And, what did I qualify for? What jobs? What was going on? What the culture was? I took my first job with a small business, and they told me I was going to be the director of cybersecurity. And I'm like, wow, that's great. Sounds good. They paid me a good salary. But what wound up happening was a lot of companies and a lot of military go through this. I retired out of the Pentagon, and they really wanted to use my connections within the Pentagon to try and win work so that they could get into the Pentagon. I've had several people tell me that you need to learn how to monopolize your relationships. And I took offense to that type of thinking. But now that I am on the other side, and now that I own a business, I can understand the meaning behind it. After serving in the military for so many years and helping so many organizations, I do have a level of trust and responsibility, a level of comfort with military leaders. I understand their mission. So I feel like that makes me a uniquely qualified person to address the issues and the concerns that the military and the government are going through. So from that sense, I feel like it's just a continuation of my service.
That's awesome. Yeah, you're right. The transition out of the military is daunting. When you think about, you're never alone in the military. It's always about the mission. It's always about the country. It's always about the unit. It's never about you. And then when you get out and you're in the civilian community, it's all about you.
Absolutely.
You have to make all those decisions, right? And it is daunting. And it's really one of the reasons we created Veterans Ascend, to help bridge the gaps and the connections for veterans and employers. So awesome. So I'm super excited about this next question for you. Congratulations on being named to the Vet 100 fastest growing companies. That is absolutely amazing and so inspirational. I aspire to be on there one day myself. Tell us about your journey and your vision, and what do you attribute your success to?
I love that question. So one, thank you so much for the recognition. I actually wasn't tracking it. I didn't know. We were contacted and notified. Basically, we came out on the Forbes 5,000 list within the top 500. And then when you further filtered that down to veteran-owned businesses, we were the 29th fastest growing veteran business. And it was first an honor to be on Forbes 500. Then it was an additional honor to be recognized as top 100 veterans. And what I would say, as far as the journey and the vision, we concentrate on what we believe is an organization's greatest asset, and that's its people. A lot of people, especially in technology, the equipment and the capabilities and all those things are the key to their success. And to some degree, I understand that. But an organization's people, in my mind, are always the greatest asset. And taking care of people, just like we took care of people when I was on active duty, they handle the mission. We love to hire veterans. That's another key to our success. In hiring veterans, we hire a population of people that they're already dedicated to the mission, and they don't work to time, they work to standard, they work to mission accomplishment. I have the unique experience and the privilege to lead a group of people, veterans and non veterans, that simply believe in mission over self. And whether it's putting in the extra hours, working on something that's not exactly your job, learning a new capability, whatever it is, they're willing to go the extra mile. I tell people all the time, I am the owner of the company and I get all the credit, but all the work goes to my staff, goes to my contractors. They're the ones doing the mission. They're the ones making everything happen. And so I always make sure every opportunity I get, I shout out that our success is on the backs of many successful, hardworking people that go out there and get the mission done every day.
That's just amazing. And I hope when people listen to this, they really take heed to that key that you can be successful by focusing on your employees. Because the reality is, and I've said for many years, I've been in the service business, you don't have a business without the people that work in the business.
Exactly.
The owners can't do everything themselves. I love that. I also love, I never heard the term, they don't work at time or work in time. It's about working to the project completion, working to the mission completion. So I love that because it's truly true. Like you said, people are telling you, go home. You don't have to be here, until 9 o'clock at night, just because there's still work to do.
Exactly.
That's it. And it's true. And veterans do bring that learning agility and that situational leadership to a company, and not enough companies are taking advantage or connecting at those levels for veterans. So that's awesome. Congratulations again.
Thank
The
you.
Forbes list as well. That is amazing. Now let's talk about your work with G3 Community Services. Take us through the mission and why did you start the program?
That is another great story. So our mission is to restore, inspire, and empower. Let me tell you a brief story. While still in uniform, I believe, my daughter comes home from school, and I ask her, like I always do, how was your day? And she tells me, Daddy, my day was horrible. And I'm like, why? She said, well, the boys are so bad that the teacher ran out of the class crying. And she goes on to tell me the story and says, Daddy, can you come to the school and fix it? Because every girl thinks her daddy can fix everything, right?
Oh, I love that.
So the next morning we get up and we go to school, and I take her to school and I go to her class and I talk to the teacher, and the teacher confirms that yes, that did happen. I asked her if I can address her classroom, and she said yes. I said, this classroom is now mine. And if you are disrespectful in this classroom, your teacher will contact me and you will deal with me when I get here. So the teacher next door heard me and said, can you come do that in my class too, please? So, I go in there and I find one of the biggest young men in the class and I said, hey, I need your help. And he says, me? And I'm like, yes. I said, I need you to hold people accountable to being respectful and doing the right thing. And he said, absolutely, sir. So I start walking out to my car. And before I could get to the car, the principal calls my cell phone and says, I need you to come back in here, sir. He said, I want you to start. She said, I want you to start a young men's program in my school on character development and mentoring. And that's how we started EYM, Extraordinary Young Men. I did that in the school for about a year, and then I started to get some criticism about, well, you're leaving out the young ladies. We started to expand our lesson plans to include STEM and coding and drones and things like that. So we changed Extraordinary Young Men to Extraordinary Young Minds. Extraordinary Young Minds wind up being the key cornerstone program that we have going on in G3CS. G3CS is GCubed Community Services. Through that program, because of my daughter coming home and asking for assistance, We're now in 12 different schools from elementary school, middle school, and high school. And we've launched some spin-off programs. The Bridge program takes high school students from high school into the military, college, or directly into the workforce. We have veteran transition programs where, just like I said, it was so scary for me to go through that transition. We kind of coach veterans as they get ready to go through the program for themselves or the transition for themselves. Entrepreneurship programs. If you're trying to start a business, it comes through the nonprofit, but we'll partner you with the personnel that I have on staff in GCubed, and you start to learn all the different departments within a business and how they work and things like that. So I would say that our nonprofit, anyone who knows me says, I work in my for profit to support my nonprofit habits. I try to give away as much information, as much experience as possible, so people are getting as much information that they can to make sound decisions. With all that said, my nonprofit and my for profit partner together in a lot of initiatives. We're partnered with Best Buy. We're partnered with our local hospital. We're partnered with the sheriff's department. And we go into communities and put together programs that benefit and strengthen the youth in the communities. And it's been amazing. I'm very, very happy and proud of the work that we've done.
You should be. That truly is. I love that your daughter, kind of brought you in and wasn't afraid to tell you that she needed help or somebody in her school needed help. And I love that. It's just so inspirational. And what you're doing is just amazing. I just, wow, I'm so happy to be able to share this with our listeners because it really is getting the young people to feel good about standing up for somebody, about doing the right things, even when it's not popular. It's just, that's amazing. So thank
Exactly.
you for that. That's just outstanding. So tell us your best piece of advice for a transitioning service member or veteran. And if they want to start their own business, what would your advice be?
So, in general, transitioning veterans, my best advice, and I did not follow this advice that I'm about to say, but I'm glad it worked out anyway. Whatever it is you want to be when you transition and get out, Google that and find out what the requirements are and create yourself a list of goals in order to be what you want to be and slowly start applying timelines to each of those goals and make sure that that timeline lines up with your transition date so that by the time you're getting ready to get out, you have accomplished all those things, whether it's a degree, whether it's a certification, whether it's experience, you've accomplished all those things. So when you come out, you're prepared and ready to walk into a job. This is not just for veterans, this is just in general. But for veterans specifically, because I've seen veterans, well, I'm going to get out of the military, and they get out and they don't have their degree or they don't have the certification and they're not as marketable as they once thought they would be just being a veteran. The workforce has changed, and you just being a veteran is not enough anymore. You have to prepare yourself and do your part, whether it's education, whether it's experience, or whether it's certification. Now, if you find yourself wanting to start a business, then my next piece of advice would be find a mentor, someone who is out there doing what you want to do, and ask those questions because entrepreneurship is not easy. It is extremely challenging. It's a lot of hours, a lot of time, a lot of work, a lot of effort. You learn through trial and error, and there's just so much out there, especially from a leadership perspective, because when things go right or wrong, they fall on your shoulders. So I would recommend that you reach out to someone on LinkedIn that's in the market that you're trying to get into and just start asking those questions, because the one thing I will tell you, when I got out of the military, I knew everything I needed to know about IT. I even knew everything about being a leader. But what I did not know was anything about HR or finance or any of those things. So they were areas that I had to get smart on really fast. And I leaned on people within my network. That's another little tidbit. Your network is one of your most powerful assets. Maintain all of those connections that you had when you were on active duty, because you'll never know when you're going to need them again. But regardless, all of these things working together have led to us having a very successful organization with a great culture in a wonderful environment in a quickly growing company. I'm very excited about it.
That's outstanding. And you're right. As entrepreneurs, it is extremely long hours, extremely hard work, and you do need your team around you, mentors and advisors and guides, and even just somebody to just talk to. Just to say, wow, I think I've had a really horrible day. I don't think I can do this. And just to get somebody to talk to you about that. So that's awesome. Great advice. I know from myself and my own journey, creating Veterans Ascend, that you're right on point with all of that. So thank you for that. So, well, Vernon, thank you so much for your service. Thank you for what you are doing with the GCubed community service. That is just outstanding. And congratulations again on the success of GCubed Inc. We appreciate you sharing these great insights today, and we wish you much continued success and look forward to hearing about more stories. Listeners, for more information on GCubed, please visit their website at www.gcubedinc.com. And for more information on the GCubed community service, please visit their website at www.g3cs.org. And for more information on Veterans Ascend or to sign up today, please visit our website at www.veteransascend.com. Thank you, everyone, and have a great day.